Hey guys, so over the last few weeks, I have been rewatching season one of Breaking Bad with my friend. He's never seen it before. He really had no idea what the show was about before he started watching, and in my opinion, that's sometimes the best way to watch a show. Just go in completely fresh. Now, I've seen it before, but it's been a while. I think I was in middle school, so at least like 7 years. Because I don't think I've ever gone back and watched Breaking Bad, despite loving the show so much. Um, because I feel like when I watch things again, it should be with like somebody else, so I get to see them experience it for the first time. So, finally had that opportunity. So, after revisiting it for the first time in a while and having the knowledge of like what's going to happen later in the series, what do I think of it? What do I think of season one? Here's my thoughts. So spoiler warning for season one of Breaking Bad. I'm not going to be talking about the other seasons because you know, I assume you clicked on this video, you've seen season one, but I don't want to, spoil anything else that happens. So yeah, season one is only 7 episodes compared to the other seasons, which range between 13 and 16. And yeah, you could definitely tell because the finale of season one, while being a very good episode, doesn't really feel like a finale, but we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves. Let's start off with my thoughts on the characters. So we have Walter White, who is probably the only, well, him and Jesse are probably the only ones who really have anything of substance in the season. The other characters have substance, but it's very minimal, because of how few episodes we have, and I feel like the show starts out with Walt and kind of comes out from there. So the Walt in this season is a very different Walt than we get in season five. Obviously, he's a lot more kind of timid, and you just assume like this ordinary man. He doesn't really stand up for himself that much, and then he finds out he has cancer, and it's like a switch goes off, and he's like, "What have I been doing with my life? I have to sell meth." Now, kind of a huge leap, but you get it. He's a brilliant chemistry teacher who was part of this company called Grey Matter, and for reasons which remain unclear, he decided to leave, and right before they hit it big, The episode of The Simpsons where Homer sells his stock in the nuclear plant right before they hit it big, and he like misses out on all this money. That's kind of what happened to Walt. So, at the beginning of the series, he is not happy with the position he has in life, and you know, all in all, he's a pretty like good guy, on paper. But you could see little spites of his pride come out even in these early episodes, like him refusing to accept Elliot and Gretchen's money to help pay for his treatment because, he wants to own his own living. He doesn't want any handouts and stuff. But it's like the more ethical thing to do would take their money instead of, make math. But who am I to judge? He teams up with Jesse, who is one of his former high school students, and I like Jesse because he is and isn't what you would expect from a drug dealer. He's very like the way he talks is very reminiscent of a drug dealer, as in like TV shows and movies. I don't know. I don't take drugs. But then you find out that he has a very middle class upbringing. He has like a very nice family, and you're like, huh, how did he get to the situation he is? Was it the group of friends he hang out with in high school? Was it the strict upbringing by his parents that caused him to rebel? Could be a mix. We don't really know. Even though he acts like a punk a lot, he does have moments of empathy, which we'll see more of in the later seasons. But here he's still kind of a basic punk. He doesn't really have much to him at this point. Skylar is the annoying wife, but you know I've always defended Skylar, especially in the later seasons. At this point, she's just an annoying wife, which is, annoying. But if we're talking about who's like the worst person, obviously it's Walt because he's the one making meth. So, I don't know. Hank is the comic relief character. You know, um, he doesn't have much to do this season, but besides, say, funny off-color jokes, and there was a few moments where we do take him seriously in the series, like his genuine concern over Walt, in the family when he has cancer. And I think it's a very sweet moment for him to say like, I'll look after Skylar and the kids when you're gone. That's a very sweet moment coming from him. But then Walt sees it as like, oh, you think I can't provide? It's like, shut up, Walt. So that was probably one of my favorite Hank scenes. Also, the scene where he's talking to Flynn, Walt Jr. in the car, and he thinks he's doing weed, which he's like, oh, that leads to meth, and it's like, does it really? Does it really know? About like, oh, I'm doing this because I care about you. It's kind of a sweet scene, a little bit awkward, and you could definitely tell it was made in 2008. Marie doesn't really get much to do here, which I think kind of applies to almost every season of the show. Um, Sees Skylar's slightly more annoying sister, who honestly has some funny moments in this season. Uh, and kind of has sitcom hijinks, with the whole kleptomania thing, which kind of mirrors Walt Breaking Bad. But definitely what she's doing isn't holding people the way Walt making meth is. So there's a little bit of a parallel, but not really. She's like Walter Light instead of Walter White. We have Walt Jr., who doesn't really get much to do this season, besides so concerned for his dad and the famous "You're a Pissy" scene, which everybody loves that scene. Well, I like how they actually casted a kid in high school to play a kid in high school. Looking at you, Euphoria. Like, why do all these shows cast people in the like mid to late 20s to play high schools? It doesn't make any sense. But you know, Walt Jr. is actually played by somebody in high school. He looks it. It's good. I like it. In episode 6, we meet the great Tuco, who is such a good character. So I think that episode 1 of the show is really great, and the last 2 episodes are really great. The episodes in the middle seem kind of padded, if you know what I mean. But as soon as we introduce Tuco, the pacing steps up because you realize what a dangerous lunatic he is, and it's so cool watching him against the rest of the characters who at this point have a lot more domestic lives. He is unpredictable. He beat the fuck out of Jesse for no reason. He killed his henchman to death for speaking out of turn, even whatever. How that ends the season because Walt and Jesse are like, oh fuck, how do we get out of this situation? So even though I don't think this was intended as the season finale because of the writer strike, it kind of works as like a cliffhanger, not a huge cliffhanger, but like what's next? How are we gonna deal with this? I do like how Tuco kind of respects Walt because he pulled that stunt where he's like, "This is not meth," and he fucking like blew the place up. And instead of just killing him, Tuco's like, "Yeah, I respect that." Tuco's a crazy character. I love him. He's such an interesting villain. About like half the cast are villains, but like antagonist to Walt, I guess. So yeah, that is pretty much everything I have to say on season 1 of Breaking Bad. As you can see, I'm wearing green for Breaking Bad. That was just a coincidence. I didn't plan that. And let me know your thoughts on the season down below. I'm gonna give it a B plus. Pretty solid season. Uh, but you could tell that the best is yet to come. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.